Hey y'all, it's Ricky T. I'm here on the deck out here back at the Taylor Plantation on a beautiful day here in beautiful Beech Grove, Indiana. It's a Labor Day weekend, so props go out to all of my fellow Americans who work for a living. We are the ones that make this country great. Props to you. Enjoy the weekend. I will be having family over here shortly for dinner. But first I thought I'd do a quick video. Labor Day, as you guys know, is the official wrapping up of summer. We're going to be hitting the fall season. Football is going to be starting, and so it's a great thing. I love summer, but I also love fall. But with summer ending and we're rolling into fall, you're going to hear a lot more political talk coming up as we have midterm elections in November. And one of the topics, one of the issues that you're probably going to hear a lot about is healthcare. So when Trump first came into office, one of his campaign promises was repeal and replace of ObamaCare. We haven't completely done that. We've gotten rid of the worst part of ObamaCare, which was the personal mandate, or the mandate where everybody had to buy the insurance. If they didn't, they would be penalized. That ended with the tax reform. But as we move into the election and after the election, healthcare, it's going to be a big issue during the election process, during the campaigns, and then depending on how things turn out, Trump may finally be able to do what he promised. If we get a couple more Republicans on the Senate side, and the Republicans can hold in the Congress and the House of Representatives, which we think probably that's going to happen. We'll see though. Then the complete repeal and replace of Obamacare can happen. So many of you know, because I've went ahead and posted it on Facebook 2 or 3 times in the past. I have my own version of what I would use to replace Obamacare. Obviously, it's called TaylorCare, right? What else would you call it? So as you guys know, I'm a small government guy, conservative. So my plan is more of a market-driven plan. Basically, government's primary focus in my plan would be that of an oversight, just to make sure that we're not getting screwed. So I'm going to go into that here in a minute. At this point, it's a 7-point plan. Obviously, if it was negotiated and debated, some things could get refined or taken out or added or whatever. So I got notes here just so I don't forget anything. I wrote it so I know what it means. I just got some notes so I don't forget. So number one thing on TaylorCare, and these are not in the order of importance. These are just, it would all have to happen, okay? Number one, interstate commerce and portability. So basically what I mean by that is right now you have health insurance plans. They're state by state, okay? So Indiana has its set of plans it sells, Illinois has its set of plans that it sells, Kentucky has its set of plans that it sells, etc. And you can't sell those across state lines. And if you move, then you're going to have to get a new plan. If you move out of the state, you're going to have to get a new plan. So the first thing I say is, you know, why not? If it's good for Indiana, it's good for Illinois, it's good for California, let's put it out there. So by doing that, we would increase competition. And so basically it's very simple. So let's say Indiana, there's 10 plans, right? There's 10 plans out there that you can choose from. But now all of a sudden, if you can choose from all 50 plans, there may be 1,000 plans you can choose from. And as you guys know, with supply and demand and with how capitalism works, the more competition you have, then the more likely it is prices are going to drop. And if there's plans out there that are too expensive, then they're going to disappear, or they're going to have to modify either the plan or the price of the plan if they want to keep it viable. That's good for us, the consumer, because as we have more plans, the more the price goes down. And then secondarily, if you have a plan and you get a job and you have to move to another state, now under my plan, you'd be able to keep that plan. Like, you know, we had a previous president that said, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan, and he lied about it. Under my plan, that would be true. You move to Georgia because you got a job in Atlanta, take your plan with you, you know. So that's what that is. Number two, trial, lawyer, and malpractice reform. So if you were to talk to most physicians and you ask them what is the number one thing that causes them financial distress, they will tell you the fear and the actuality of being sued for malpractice. And in many cases, they have to practice medicine defensively in such a way that they don't get sued. There may be a treatment plan that they would use, or that they would go down a certain road with treatment that they don't do because they're afraid they might get sued. Therefore, because there's so much malpractice, that means malpractice insurance is very, very expensive. So if we went to a situation where loser pays all, you've probably heard that before, that's been talked about before, where if somebody wants to sue for malpractice and it's a frivolous case and they lose, now all of a sudden they have to pay legal fees for not only themselves, but for the doctor who they sued. Or on the other hand, if it's a legit case of malpractice and I sue the doctor and I win, I have no legal fees. The doctor not only has to pay up on the guilty plea, or on the being found guilty, he also has to pay my legal fees. So basically what that'll do is that'll cause there to be less frivolous lawsuits, which in turn, at least theoretically, from an economics perspective, would cause the price of malpractice insurance to go down, which means the physicians would have less expenses, and if they have less expenses, they can provide services at a more affordable rate. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, transparency. I hear this word all the time. I work for one of the large healthcare providers. You hear transparency all the time. We talk about it, but we don't really do it. And it actually kind of ticks me off. I even went on a rant at work about I'm not going to use the word transparency anymore because it's BS. We talk about it, we don't do it. Under my plan, there would be true transparency. Let me explain. We would put together a website whereby you would log into your health plan and it would take you to one big site that everybody can access, whereby you could go in and you could put in whatever type of service that you need to have. You could put in a zip code where you live, and you could put in a distance, let's say 20 miles, and then it would pull up every provider that provides that service within whatever geographic credentials you put in. So I live in Beech Grove, I put 20 miles. Every provider that does colonoscopies in a 20-mile radius, they're all right there. It'll give you the cost, and since you logged in through your health plan, it would have your deductible information. So based on where you stand today with your deductible, here's what the total cost would be, here's what your out-of-pocket would be, and then in addition to giving you the cost information, it would also give you quality information. And the government does all kinds of 5-star, 4-star kind of stuff on quality. There would be quality information out there so that you as the consumer can make a better decision. You might want to choose the cheapest provider. That might be what you want to do. Or you might say, well, this provider, based on the data that I just saw here, is the highest quality, but they cost a little more. And as a consumer, I'm willing to pay more for higher quality. If that's what you want to do, you can do it. But at least all the data is there for you to make the best choice you want. Maybe you want to go middle of the road. This guy has better quality than some, worse quality than others. His pricing is right in the middle. That's who I want. But again, all the information is there for you to make that decision. And then that way you have greater control of your healthcare, and you can make a better decision. Furthermore, any provider out there who's high cost, you might see, for example, total knee surgeries. They're running around $23,000. This provider over here is charging 70 grand. That's crazy. Well, if people are always looking at this transparency website, then all of a sudden nobody's going to be going to that provider who's charging 70 grand because now they know. Under the current system, they may not know that until after the fact, and now they're stuck with a big bill. And so that provider is either going to go out of business or they're going to lower their price. And it's going to bring costs down, and it's going to cause quality to go up, because any of the providers who are showing low quality are going to have to bring their quality up if they want to continue to have patients. If patients see, oh, this guy might be a little cheaper, but he sucks. His quality sucks. So I'm going to go somewhere else. Well, that provider is going to force them to have better quality. So in the end, it'll cause providers to increase their quality and lower their cost. That's transparency. Number 4, anti-price gouging. So especially with pharmacy, with drugs, you see it with implantable devices, you see there's providers in Indiana who will mark up their drugs 500% from average wholesale price. That's clearly price gouging. So under my plan, we would put in place a methodology from a federal government perspective that would define what gouging is, and there would be an oversight function to make sure that that gouging wasn't happening, and there would be a mechanism for the consumer to report any suspected gouging so that action can be taken. So again, that would lower the cost of care because they would no longer be able to price gouge. 500% of cost is ridiculous. They should go to jail for that. Okay, that's number 4. Number 5, provider fraud protection. So many providers have billing schemes. Like I said, and some of what I've already said will take care of this, but any suspected fraudulent billing, any type of price gouging, there would be a mechanism whereby the consumer could report that, more so than now. And then there would be a specific bureaucracy that would be in charge of looking into these reported cases. So that's provider fraud protection. Health plans. So what I mean by that is I would change the way we actually buy insurance. Right now, most people get it through their employer. So your employer may have 1, 2, 3 options for you, and you got to choose which one. And so the lower the deductible, the more it costs, etc. But generally, it's 3 fairly generic plans. So under my scenario, we would totally change how we buy insurance as people start to show up and gather for our Labor Day outing. So just so you know, there may be a little bit of back noise. What I would do is I would say, instead of employers offering a few plans, instead they would take the money that they're currently using, that they currently allocate to purchase that insurance that they offer you, and instead give you that full amount to put in a health savings account so that you can purchase your own insurance. And then that insurance would start out as a base catastrophic plan, and then you could a la carte it. If you want prescription coverage, you can choose the coverage you want. If you don't, then you don't have to, and that would cause your insurance to be less because you don't have that coverage. If you're an older couple and you don't need family planning type benefits like birth control or vasectomy or whatever, that wouldn't be in there, so your cost would be cheaper. But if you wanted it, you could buy it, and it would, your cost would change accordingly. So every different thing. So if you want a lower copay or a lower deductible, you can purchase that, and you just pick and choose what you want based on the money that your employer is putting in your health account for you. So that's number 6. And then number 7, let me just look at my notes here, premium protection. So in many cases, some insurance companies will rack up the price, and I talked about providers gouging. You can talk over there, Parker. What's up, Parker? Parker's just over there being Parker. So this is my last one, number 7. So I would put in place, I can't do it because I'm stuck at math. I would hire actuaries to put together a calculation that would calculate a range based on underwriting, that would put in place what is the maximum price we can charge for insurance based on the a la carte selections you make, so that the insurance company can still make a profit, but yet the consumer, you and I, can still buy it at a reasonable cost. Again, that's, in the long run, will make prices go down. Most insurance companies are something like that's already in place, but you, from time to time, see insurance companies just having big raises in premiums. And so this is a protection so that insurance companies can't do that to you. So in the end, that's my plan. If you have questions, comments, whatever, feel free to do it. It's going to be a crazy election season, but I just wanted to get that out there. That's TaylorCare for you. I'm going to go in and see y'all who is here for our little get-together. In the meantime, you know, I love you. And as always, God bless America.